Imagine a quiet town where nothing ever happens, until a mysterious call sends a kind-hearted officer racing to a highway where a mother bear stands frozen in traffic, her cubs clinging to her side and one left behind. What unfolds next will break your heart. The story began on a sunny afternoon in the quiet town of Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. It was the kind of place where neighbors smiled at each other, kids rode their bikes freely, and everyone felt safe. But that peaceful day took a surprising turn when the Carroll Police Department got a call no one was ready for. A passerby had seen something strange on the highway, a black bear pacing nervously back and forth. At first it seemed like just another wild animal trying to cross the road. But then, the caller noticed 4 tiny cubs following close behind her. This wasn't just a bear, it was a mother trying to protect her babies. She looked scared and confused, unsure how to get her cubs across the fast-moving traffic. The caller's voice shook with worry as they described the scene. The police dispatcher knew this was serious, not just about cars or animals, but about life, love, and a mother's courage. The call was quickly sent to Officer Wyatt, a kind-hearted man known for staying calm and caring deeply for animals in trouble. Wyatt didn't waste a second. He knew this was serious. A mother bear and her cubs were on the highway, and cars were speeding by every few seconds. If he didn't get there quickly, something awful could happen. The bear family didn't understand the danger. They were just trying to get across safely. But the road wasn't safe for anyone that small and scared. Without hesitation, Wyatt jumped into his patrol car and hit the gas. His heart was racing. He didn't know exactly what he'd find when he got there, but he knew he had to help. When Wyatt arrived, he couldn't believe what he saw. Right in the middle of the road stood the mother bear, looking around anxiously. Her 4 tiny cubs clung to her side. But something was wrong. One of the cubs was falling behind. It was moving slowly, barely lifting its paws. It looked tired, frightened, and very weak. Wyatt's heart sank. He had to act fast. He carefully parked his car sideways across the road, blocking all traffic. Cars began lining up behind him. At first, drivers looked confused, but when they saw the bear family, everything changed. No one honked, no one complained. Instead, they watched in silence, touched by the powerful sight of a mother trying to protect her babies. The mother bear was doing everything she could to help her tired little cub. She gently nudged it with her nose, hoping to give it the strength to stand up and keep going. But the cub was too weak. It would take a few shaky steps, then collapse onto the ground, breathing heavily. The mother didn't give up. She tried picking it up by the scruff of the neck, just like bears do in the wild. But the cub kept slipping from her grip. She tried again and again, her eyes full of worry. But it was no use. Her baby was just too tired to move. People had started gathering near the road. They stayed quiet, watching from a safe distance. No one said a word. It was like watching a real-life story of love and heartbreak. Everyone could feel the mother's pain. She was scared, desperate, and running out of time. Then something happened that no one expected. After one last try, the mother bear gave her cub a gentle nudge, looked back one final time, and slowly walked away. She crossed the road to join her other 3 cubs, who were waiting on the other side. Gasps filled the air. People looked at each other, shocked and heartbroken. The tiny cub was now alone, lying helpless in the middle of the road. This scene was so heartbreaking that people in the crowd couldn't hold back their tears. Grown men and women stood by the road, wiping their eyes, watching the tiny cub lie helpless and alone. It was too weak to move, and its mother had just walked away. The air was heavy with sadness, but Officer Wyatt knew he couldn't just stand there. Even though he had been trained to stay cautious around wild animals, especially when a mother bear might come back, he also knew this little life needed help. It was a dangerous choice, but he didn't think twice. Wyatt ran toward the cub, carefully picked it up in his arms, and hurried back to his patrol car. His heart was racing. Once inside the car, he placed the cub gently on the passenger seat and even made a little seatbelt using a towel so it wouldn't slide during the ride. Without wasting a second, he drove straight to the New Hampshire Fish and Game Wildlife Center. There, a team of wildlife experts and vets were ready. They quickly took the cub, checked for injuries, and began treatment. Because of Wyatt's brave and fast actions, the little cub had a real chance to live. Everyone thought the story was over. The little cub was safe, and Officer Wyatt could finally relax after such an emotional day. People in town were still talking about his bravery. But no one knew the story wasn't finished yet. The very next day, another call came in. A driver had spotted a small black bear cub, alone, scared, and hiding in the bushes by the side of the same road. This time it wasn't in the middle of the highway, but just off to the side in the thick brush. Officers were confused. Could this be the same cub they rescued yesterday? But when they checked, they realized something shocking. It wasn't the same cub, this was a different one. The truth hit hard. The mother bear hadn't had 4 cubs. She had 5. This was very rare. Most black bears only have 2 or 3 cubs. Having 5 was almost unheard of. And now it made sense why the last 2 cubs had been so weak. There hadn't been enough food or milk to keep them all strong. Wyatt's heart dropped. Without wasting time, he grabbed his gear and rushed to the scene. It felt like déjà vu. He searched quietly, his ears tuned to every sound. Then, in the bushes, he spotted a tiny, shivering ball of fur. There it was, the 5th cub, even smaller than the last one. It didn't move, it didn't cry, it just lay there, too tired to do anything. Wyatt didn't rush. He moved slowly, knowing the mother bear might still be nearby. He called for backup, and the wildlife team soon joined him. Once it was safe, Wyatt gently scooped up the cub and held it close to his chest. Just like before, he was its only hope. The cub didn't resist. It was too weak, too tired, and too scared. But when Wyatt picked it up, something in his arms felt safe. His touch was gentle, steady, and warm, like the cub somehow knew he wasn't in danger anymore. The wildlife team acted quickly. They gave the cub a quick checkup right there by the road, then carefully placed it in a warm carrier. Their plan was to bring it to the same rehab center where the other rescued cub had been taken just a day earlier. Back at the center, something beautiful happened. The 2 cubs were reunited. They were still weak, still needing help, but now they had each other. And they had people who cared. For the next few weeks, the cubs were looked after day and night. They were fed soft food, given medicine, and kept warm and safe. Slowly, their strength returned. They began to move more, play a little, and their tiny eyes shone brighter with each new day. The little bears were getting a second chance at life. In the woods nearby, the mother bear was seen again. She was staying close to her 3 healthy cubs. Wildlife experts watched from a distance to make sure she was okay. She looked alert, strong, and still a mother, even with 2 of her babies missing. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The 2 rescued cubs were finally strong enough to survive on their own. It was time to take them home. The release was quiet and full of hope. The little cubs disappeared into the forest, free once again. No one knows exactly what happened after that, but many believe their mother found them. Maybe she recognized their scent. Maybe she waited. But in their hearts, everyone hoped the family was whole again. And Officer Wyatt? He still drives by those woods, looking out the window with a small smile, wondering. To him, those cubs aren't just wild animals. They're part of his story now, and he's part of theirs. This story will stay in the hearts of Bretton Woods forever. A story of love, kindness, and the power of never giving up.